And one of the things we're trying to make very clear is that Nigeria, at the moment, as it is constituted, is not a nation. Now, I said it here before, that if you look for the meaning of nation in Yoruba language, it even helps you to understand it. And I think before we even go into the meaning of nation in Yoruba language, let me read to you what nation means according to dictionary. Nation is a distinct population bound by a shared sense of common culture, history, language, ethnicity, or belief, which often results in a collective identity and feeling of unity. I'll take it again. A nation is a distinct population bound by a shared sense of common culture, history, language, ethnicity, or belief, which often results in a collective identity and feeling of unity. So if Nigeria is not a nation, what is it? It's a country. A country is a politically organized territory with defined borders, a sovereign government, and a population. Often, but not always, united by a shared culture, history, or language. We don't have shared culture or language. Well, we have shared history now since 1914, but it's a politically organized territory. You see, Papa published his first book. Papa, that's Awo, published his first book in 1947, Path to Nigerian Freedom, and he said Nigeria is a mere geographic expression. He said Nigeria is not a nation, but a mere geographic expression. We have done well since 47. Now, in 2025, we are a country, not just a mere geographic expression. In other words, we are a politically organized territory. All right. However, we have to understand the fact that there are many nations within Nigeria. There are many nations within Nigeria, and that is not disunity. That is the reality. We are many in one. And what that means basically is that people are going to have different ways of doing things because in their own nation, they have a shared culture, shared history, shared language. And for the most part, the way they play politics in Nigeria is based on what will make that nation, or let me put it this way, what will elevate that nation. But there's nothing bad with that. If you're Yoruba, do what will elevate Yoruba people. If you're able to do what to elevate Igbo people, if you also do what to elevate Hausa people. However, this is what we have noticed in Nigeria. There's a particular group who does what will elevate his own people at the expense of others. And it is that group that calls every other person tribalist. And they're the ones who tell you that ethnicity has nothing to do with politics. Meanwhile, everything that has to do with their political history is based on the ethnicity. When you want to understand how Nigerian politics plays, or how Nigerian politics is, you can blame the North. Let me tell you the truth about the North, from what I've discovered. The North can be selfish. They want something for themselves. They're about themselves. They want something for themselves, which is fair. The West wants something for itself. We want something for ourselves, and we also want others to be okay. So you have like a tinge of altruism there. Or afenifere. That's the Yoruba mindset. The East wants good for itself at the expense of every other group. In other words, they don't mind destroying every other group as long as the East works. Now, you may say, what do you mean? A very good example a very good incident that gives that helps us understand that basic stuff is what happened in 1957 during the conversation of creation of states. The North said, don't create any state. We don't want middle belt. So there were 3 regions at the time, the North, the East, and the West. In those 3 regions, the minorities were clamoring for their own separate regions. So in the East, you had the COR, that's the Carabao Goja Rivers provinces. In the West, you had the Midwest. In the North, you had the Middle Belt. They started clamoring in the 40s, but they became very loud in 52 for the Midwest, 55 for COR, and also for Middle Belt. So around that time, people started, canvassing for stuff, and we must go out, must have our own state. So there's going to be a conference, and they had a conversation on how it would go. The North said, don't create Middle Belt. We don't want you to create Midwest. Don't create another group, but don't touch our own region. don't touch the North. So you can say it's selfish. Fair enough. The West said, okay, you can create the Midwest as long as you create COR. Because we don't want to just lose our land because we're the smallest region in terms of land size or land mass. So if you're going to create COR, then you can create Midwest. That was the position of the Western region. The Eastern region was different. They said, don't touch, we don't care about what happens in the North, but don't touch our own region. But see that West, break it into 4. In other words, as far as the East is concerned, their growth is dependent on the downfall of others. You have to break the West into Midwest, Lagos, Central States, and then the nonsense he came up with, which was Cassava State, Kola North and Cassava State, Ijebu and Abeokuta provinces. That's the mindset. Is what you see with the indigenship by indigenship status bill that we talked about recently. Is the same spirit. It's what you see also with what's his name? Ojukwu did, we're in the book now. What Ojukwu did in 66. Oladura kan tí kíní orin kan tí Bayo Adegboyega kọ, máa fi kan gbà kan lọ́wọ́ mi. Anyone here knows Bayo Adegboyega? He's late now. He was very popular in his lifetime. Anybody? Here's the point. Bayo Adegboyega sang a song. He says, máa fi kan gbà kan lọ́wọ́ mi. Máa fi kan gbà kan lọ́wọ́ mi. Ire owó ọmọ àlàáfíà ni mo ń fẹ́ o. What he said in that song is that if you're going to give me something, don't use that as an opportunity to take from me what I already possess. It's a prayer to God. You want to give me something, but don't use it as an opportunity to take from me what I already possess. And that was the politics of the Eastern region. And that's what you also saw in what Ojukwu did in 1966. People will tell you that it was altruistic, but in actual fact, it was demonic. What did he do? He removed tribal origin from every form that people were feeling and said, you know what, we want to create this egalitarian society in Nigeria. So no matter where you're from in Nigeria, as you're feeling that form, don't worry about it. Just come in. You can get scholarships and everything. If you're Yoruba, no problem. If you're Yoruba, you're Hausa, you are wherever you're from, no problem. Now, this was in 66. 11 years before this moment, the Western region created something called free education. Universal. Everybody could access it, right? All across the Western region. And even those who came into Yoruba land from outside Western region, they could also access it. But regardless of what other regions did, Yoruba land continued doing it. That's how you know what a policy is. I'm going somewhere. Stay with me, please. The policy was free education. You had to raise money for it. You do what you want to do. People saw it, wanted to copy it. The Eastern region copied it in 1957. They stopped within 1 year. They couldn't manage. The Northern region copied it. They couldn't, do anything with it. So they had to resort to adult education much later. So the West did what the West did because it was a policy that came out of the need to help the people. The East came up with this ridiculous remove your tribe of origin from their forms in 1966, only to stop it because there was no reciprocity from other regions, which tells you that the real reason for that policy was so they could get into other places to come back. It was not about a policy based on altruism. It wasn't altruistic. It wasn't even nation building. It was a way to get in. It was actually parasitic, to be clear. It was a way to get into other people's region so that those people also remove tribe of origin. And knowing full well that you are the group that travels a lot. Every group travels, but they're not being chased. You are the group that travels a lot. Once you get into their region, they will then have to have you amongst themselves, remove your tribe of origin. That thing that Ojukwu was trying to do in 66 is similar to what the indigenous status bill is about in 2020. The same spirit is still alive. That's what I'm trying to tell you. And a person who comes to you to tell you that, forget about tribe, the tribal lines, it doesn't really matter, is a person who is actually using ethnicity to influence politics in Nigeria. That's the point. The one who tells you, don't look at that thing, is trying to create a blind side so that it can make you not see what it's actually doing. It knows what's up. You are naive, for the most part, Yoruba, we are naive in Nigerian politics. We just have this thing of everybody is sane. Not everybody is sane. Many are mad, few are roaming. And we are Yahweh gone. And the way people think is based on their frame of reference. Your frame of reference is different. And why? Because we are different nations. And it is not a problem. Our cultures, our experiences, our ancestries, our stories, our myth of origin, our folklores, all those things affect the way we think. Our value systems are different. Therefore, the way we approach politics will be different. The assumption that we are one nation is why we are not making progress, because we are not acknowledging the fact that this other person is a uniquely made, uniquely conditioned person from me. The concept of Omoluabi is not what's the value system of Nigeria. We don't have one. We don't. And I've said it before. What is the value system of Yoruba people? If I ask for you, I don't know about other groups, but if I say Yoruba, you say Omoluabi ethos. Iwapele, Akikanju, you mention Omoluabi ethos. What's the one for Nigeria? And I've said it before. What unites us in Nigeria, they're not past three things. Number one is jollof rice. Number two is football. Oh no, number one is football. When we start playing football now, all of us will just say, up Nigeria. After the match, we'll come back to reality. Number one is football. Number two is jollof rice. Number three is the ability to suffer. Yes, we're tenacious people. We have tenacity. In other words, we can quickly adapt. If we go into, which is a good thing, by the way. If we are going through some terrible times, we know how to go through stuff, which is beautiful. We know how to go through things and just, emerge better, which is a fantastic thing, by the way. But that's a value system. Somebody say Afrobeat. That too. And I'll tell you the reason I mentioned those three. Outside those three, every other thing that unites us is based on one ethnicity. But we don't like to hear it. That's why I didn't mention it. You don't have to mention any ethnicity with rice. Jollof rice is actually from Senegal. Football, that one is from Europe. The tenacity, which is a blessing, that one are from military government. Then give us that one. If you grow up under the military, you know why we are very, very strong. We adapt very quickly. Now we go sit down one place, just say, okay, wait, what's the next thing? Abacha stove. We know how to create things and we can adapt. That's a blessing. But it's not a value system. Someone says, beautiful women, very handsome melanin men. Okay, I agree. But that's not a value system. But it's one of the things that also unites us. I don't know if it unites us, to be honest. Every other thing, the wedding is Yoruba. When Buhari was going to recommend a language in BRICS, it was Hausa. There was no Nigerian language to recommend. He took Hausa there. People say, oh, no, you couldn't have done it. I wish you took Yoruba because, to be honest, Yoruba is one of the most popular languages in the world. Top 10. Is it top 10 or top 20? I read the list last week. It's one of the most, outside the continent, it's spoken more than any other African language. Outside the continent of Africa. And within the continent, it's one of the most widely spoken language. No, Hausa is popular. I said Hausa is not popular outside Africa. Hausa is not popular outside Africa. Hausa is popular within Africa. And it is popular. Yoruba is also popular within Africa. Yoruba is spoken in about 6 nations at least, or 7. With Irotopo. So you have like a sizable number of people speaking Yoruba in Nigeria, in Benin Republic, in Togo, in Ghana, in Gambia, in Senegal, in Cote d'Ivoire, thanks to Ejigbo people. That's about 7 nations. Then, of course, outside is also a ritual language in some people's religion. So it's that kind of language. But anyway, he chose to put Hausa out, and then he used Hausa. Now, the question, some people were angry, but then the issue is this: how are you going to be angry? There is no Nigerian language, and there is no nation without a language. There is no nation without a language. Is the truth. You have language, you have ethnicity, you have culture, you have ancestry in some cases, you have heritage, you have things that you share amongst yourself. We don't have it. But does that mean that we are disadvantaged? I don't think so. I think the real issue is that we don't want to appreciate or acknowledge the fact that we have several nations within Nigeria, and that each group, some people project scarcity. Somebody said pidgin English. No, Olomaje. That's the point. Why do I need pidgin English to be a national language? Why? Why can't I just do what South Africa or India did? English and Hindi, those are the two national languages. But in your regions, the dominant language of that region is the official language in that region. No national cohesion. Everybody speaks English already. Pidgin, sincerely, people have said this thing, I don't like it, and I'll tell you why. There are no rules for Pidgin. So, but we can create the rules. Why should I want to create rules when I already have Yoruba language? Let's speak English. What India did was every region, I think about 26 languages, every region, the dominant language in your region becomes the official language of that region, apart from English. And that's why I discovered that in India, there are many film industries. There's Tollywood, there is Telugu, there's Tamilwood. It's not just Bollywood. Which is why when a filmmaker said, oh, we shouldn't have Yoruba wood, it's tribalistic, we just call it Nollywood. I'm like, what is wrong with our people? What's Nollywood? You want to tell the history of Nollywood? They start in 1994. They say the first film in Nigeria is living in bondage. I'm like, what? Making films before then now. And it's because we are trying to force unity. You are not acknowledging. If you want to, let me even read something to you. 1 second. I want to read to you we are still on topical. If we do this, I believe that this is how Nigeria can grow. Everybody, so everybody will know what they're supposed to do, and then you do your stuff. You do yours, I do mine, she does hers, he does his. We put everything together, Nigeria has developed. All this one was, don't do your own, let us come together to do something. We have not done anything since. In India, you have Kollywood, Tollywood, Mollywood, Mumbai, Assamese, Gujarati, Kochi, Sandalwood, Bengali, Punjabi. Everybody speaks the language. Why must we have English? Why can't you have BBO? Which is why I like that shanty town. I like the way Iniedo and I like Ibibio language. It rolls off the tongue very nicely. I like the way they had that communication. It wasn't Ibibio. It was lovely. This thing of we must unite. So we think we are building a nation, but we are killing ourselves. Why? Because where I am coming from, my value system is we'll unite. This thing is going to be mutually beneficial. Right? It will benefit. I'll benefit from this. You also benefit from it. That's where I'm coming from. That's my frame of reference. Some other people culturally, their frame of reference is they must get it at the expense of others. In other words, if the other person dies, as long as they get it, they are good. That's the issue. So knowing fully well that the value system is different, I can say, okay, do your thing, I'll do my stuff. When everybody does, so if your enclave is good, mine is good, hers is good, this is good, theirs are good, everything Nigeria is good. If we don't do that, we're just looking for this trouble we're looking for, calling unity. And I think I've said this several times. We need unity of purpose, not unity of identity. We don't need unity of identity. We don't have to come together to be anything. We can come together to do something, not to be something. Just do something. Now let's go to the book, The Educated Elites in Nigerian Society. All of that to say that in Nigeria, ethnicity affects politics. Anything else is a lie. There is no ethnic group in this country that is detribalized, and there is no politician in this Nigeria that is detribalized in the real sense of it. None. And it is running away from that thing that is killing us. Nobody is tribalized. The real issue is that the person who tells you is tribalized is actually the person who wants everything at your expense. That's the problem. If you ask me, am I tribalized? Of course not. I'm Yoruba and I'm Nigerian, and both are not mutually exclusive. Both can work together. It's like being a father and a son. I'm a son to my mom. I'm a father to my parents. My dad is late. I'm a son to my mom. I'm a father to my children. I'm both. And it doesn't look like I'm confused. I'm both. If I go to my mom right now, I'm not going to start saying, "Oh, mommy, Bawoni," unless I'm kidding with her, which I do sometimes. But she's my mom. When my kids come to me, I'm their dad. It's the same thing with being Yoruba and being Nigerian. You are Yoruba, you are Nigerian. There's no conflict there. But the person who tells you, "I don't care about where I come from, it's just Nigeria," is a lie. That guy does not care for Nigeria one bit. He has not even thought of Nigeria ever in his life. He has never written anything in a book like how Nigeria go better. He has never written a line. And if you want to know what I'm saying, go back in history, look at all the founding fathers who had a plan for Nigeria, who actually wrote things that you can still refer to today. Think about it for a second. I have speeches of Ahmadu Bello, of Tafawa Balewa, of Zik, of Awo. All of them contributed what they contributed. But when you talk about policy making, things that still apply today, ideological policies or policies born out of ideology and the need of the people, you have to give it to Papa. Why? Because he thought about his people, then talk about Nigeria. But the ones who are shouting, we don't think of our ethnic group is Nigeria. The only plan they have is how to take something from Nigeria to benefit the ethnic group. And you saw that with Zik, especially, and with what they did with NCNC. This is the truth. That is why I do not rate anybody who talks about the tribalization. I think they are joking. That's what I think. I think the person is joking. And this is me being mild. In actual fact, I usually put them in two categories. Person is either naive or manipulative. If you're naive, it's okay. We can all learn from each other. If you're manipulative, I stay clear from you. It means that you know what you are doing. And for the most part in this country, especially if they're not from the Southwest, the ones who are Southwest, they are very naive. When it comes to the tribalized, they are naive. The folks from other places are not naive. I won't mention their region, but fill in the gap. People are manipulative. They know exactly what they're doing. We will take Lagos. We must take Lagos. If you don't take Lagos, we will not be able to live in Lagos. I'm like, what's it happen? We must tell their kings to go to the lagoon. We will push their kings to the lagoon. We must take Lagos. On top waiting. And we say, my papa owe your papa something. Anyway, let's get back to this book now. Yeah, that's the word. Lagos is not negotiable. We must take. And when they took the Lagos, what did they do? Where is their father? Who is their father? We own this Lagos. We will show them. Like, and there's no ethnicity. They are detribalized. I remember what Mogalu said in his tweet. For the nation to be born, the tribe must die. All those fantastic things they say is not true. It is not true. Ask them, whenever they tell you that for the nation to be born, the tribe must die, ask them, when will their own nation be born in their own ethnic group? Because amongst themselves, their tribe is very alive and well.